What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Planet of NY Sports. Here we talk Yankees, Mets, Giants, Jets, and a little bit of the Knicks and Nets. Today we are doing a Giants post-game video. I know this is a little late, but it's okay. And today I am here with my co-host Daniel. How are you doing today, Daniel?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So let's talk about the Giants. So what do you want to get into first? I know there's a lot of positives, a few negatives, Kenny Golladay. So what do you want to get into first?
I want to get into how the Giants started off in the game because I started off pretty strong.
Okay.
So first quarter, the Giants put up a good touchdown. They had a good scoring drive. Daniel Jones was throwing the ball. And like you said, in the last pregame, he should have took more chances. And I felt like he was doing that. He was throwing the ball down the field. They were also running the ball too, but mainly he was throwing the ball. This touchdown right here, that was the very good drive in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Now, I want to turn our attention to let's just touch on the negative, the elephant in the room here. And that's Kenny Golladay. I think it's pretty obvious. This man, like I said it on the pregame. I said he's going to need to step up. If he can't do it this game, then I don't know when he's going to do it. And guess what? He didn't step up.
Nope.
On one of those drops, he had at least 15 yards. 15 yards. And, that could have been a touchdown. He had so much room. But the guy's he's cooked. What do you think about Kenny Golladay, Daniel?
I think he's had so many opportunities to start his offense, and he just can't commit to it. I want to say commit is the right word, but I don't think he can all the opportunities he's given, he can't use them. He hasn't been used at all.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so you wanted to talk about Daniel Jones, right? So let's talk about him. I'll give some stats and then you can get into him. So Daniel Jones was 13 for 17, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns. So that's a solid game. He's definitely limited the turnovers period this season. Before, you would see him with the stupid turnovers, throwing picks, the fumbles. How did you feel about Daniel Jones' game?
I actually felt like he played a pretty decent game. Usually Daniel Jones is not known to be a good playing quarterback. He messes up a lot. He trips when he's rushing the ball and stuff like that. But today, he played Sunday, he played a very good game.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Another player I would like to highlight that stepped up was Darius Slayton. He had a very, very nice game. He stepped up. I know he only had 3 receptions, but still, that was for 95 yards and had a touchdown. So, it's good to see at least one Giants receiver stepping up because when you got Kenny Golladay, you paid all this money for this guy. You gave him a 4-year deal, and he's over here dropping all these. I don't get it. Some players aren't made for New York, and I think Kenny Golladay is just one of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to see Slayton stepping up after a very disappointing year last year. He was in a similar position with as Golladay. There's that one drop when Giants could have beat Washington last year, and he dropped that one wide open touchdown. So, okay. So you also wanted to talk about just highlight the second quarter, right? So let's go into that. So how did you feel about the Giants in the second quarter?
So I feel like the Giants were getting completely shut down by the Texans defense.
No.
They didn't score at all. They weren't moving the ball as much. The run game was getting stopped. But I feel like they made up for it. Once they got into the second quarter after halftime, they had that locker room talk or whatever. They turned things around, and they put up 14 points in the third quarter, which was amazing. That's what really helped them win that game.
Yeah, for sure. I'm probably gonna go on a mini rant here about Kenny Golladay. I know I'm repeating myself here. but we did bench him in the second half, which was a good move because when you drop those 2 passes, he had nobody on him. This is what I don't understand. Everyone was behind him. Everyone was saying, "Oh, he's gonna have a breakout game. This is Kenny Galladay's chance." Blah blah blah. And two, not one, but 2 dropped passes that were right in his hands. The first one, okay, sure, I'll give you a pass, but the second one is just inexcusable. It's inexcusable. It hit his hands. His arms were stretched and extended, and it was definitely catchable. I just don't get it. And I'm also glad that the Giants now have a coach that is holding guys accountable. You saw Brian Dable. He was raging on at the line during the game. He was raging on him. And it seems like it worked. They won the game. But before, the Giants were definitely getting shut down, like in the second quarter. Like, we couldn't do anything. And I was starting to get a little nervous. So do you have anything on the third quarter or what?
So the third quarter, I feel like things started turning around, after Kenny Galladay, he got out of there. The Giants started to move the ball more. They started to score. The defense was doing its thing. Although they did like to give up a touchdown, I think that really didn't affect them in the way they played the game because they still ended up coming out with the win. And yeah.
It's nice to see. The Giants, they have the 4th best record in the league right now. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? At the beginning of the year, I was saying, "Oh, we're probably going to go 7-10 at best." We already have 7 wins. And realistically, you should only need 3 more wins? You only need 3 more wins and you're basically in the playoffs. And especially because the NFC has not been good at all this year. Look at teams like the Rams, they're basically done. The Cardinals stink. The NFC, it's like a crapshoot this year. You don't know. I know the Eagles are undefeated, but even they're like, they're not they're not dominating. I know you're an Eagles fan, so this is like a little, but the Eagles, they're not dominating like certain teams and stuff. And they'll probably lose a few games here and there. They're still in the division, but I think it's good because the Giants, they have next week they play the Lions.
I think that's going to be like a very easy game for the Giants, if I'm being honest. Maybe if Kenny Galladay gets another opportunity, maybe he could rise up to the occasion against the Lions defense, but who knows?
I mean, he couldn't rise to the occasion against the Texans defense, but you are right. The Lions defense is like the worst in the league. So, I mean, you have a good point. But the thing that worries me here, the Lions, they're kind of, I wouldn't say heating up. But they have like 2 straight wins or something, and they're feeling good and stuff like that. I'm kind of the Lions. They're so unpredictable. That's the thing. They are very unpredictable. They will come in this game, and either get a lead on us, and we'll come back and beat them, or they'll come back in the game, and then who knows what's going to happen from there. So it's definitely it's a tricky spot. It's a tricky spot. But like let's look at the Giants' schedule. Let's see. Let's take a look here. So we have the Giants are playing the Lions, and then on Thanksgiving, they play the Cowboys. Now, considering the Cowboys lost against the Packers, that is going to be a very big game. Because like I said, the Eagles, they're gonna win the division, but this is basically for like second place or like seeding for the wild card here. And if the Giants can beat the Lions, you can kind of, I don't want to say afford to drop the game against the Cowboys, but like it would be, if you can beat the Cowboys that game, like you should be good because let's see, who do you have after, let's see, the Giants after the Cowboys, they have the Commanders at home. That should be a win. Let's be real here. And then they have the Eagles. Okay. The Eagles, I'm not sure. That's going to be very tough. The Eagles are probably going to win. You're an Eagles fan.
They pregame,
Yeah. We'll definitely have you on the pregame for that. And then the Giants play the Commanders again. So there's a lot of divisional games here because the Giants have only really played one divisional game this whole entire year. So, and then they play the Vikings. Okay, that in Minnesota, that's a tough game. But like I said, then they play the Colts after. The Colts are basically tanking, Jeff Saturday as your head coach. I know they beat the Raiders, but the Raiders aren't good either. So, and then they play the Eagles last game of the year when the Eagles are basically probably playing for nothing at that point. They'll probably have guys rested and stuff, at least in the second half. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants win that game, if anything. But still, like I said, you only need 3 wins here.
I think, the Giants, if they beat the Lions, they're going to come in with momentum to beat the Cowboys. I mean, I don't like a lot of momentum because the Lions aren't really a good team, but they're going to feel like more relaxed to play Cowboys and not feel like as much pressure.
Yeah.
After the Cowboys, they play the Commanders. But if they beat the Cowboys, then they basically have like the second place spot locked in pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Because the Cowboys, like their schedules, like I mean, it's about the same, in terms of who schedules harder. But let's see. The Cowboys next week, they play the Vikings. That's in Minnesota. That's very tough. So if they go ahead and they lose that game, and then the Giants, they do what they need to do, beat the Lions, and then if you can go into Dallas on Thanksgiving, beat Dallas. You like you said, you basically have second place locked up, and that's good because you don't really want to face, who you want to face the lower seed. You want to face the 4th seed if you're the New York Giants. You don't want to face, let's say, the 3rd or 2nd seed, meaning probably Minnesota or like San Francisco, whoever's going to win the NFC. You don't want to be in that position, but you definitely, want to face, like I said, the Bucks. They'll be, the Bucks like. That if the Giants face the Bucks in the playoffs, I mean, it's not the Bucks. They haven't been good this year.
No, they haven't.
So, do you have any other notes you maybe want to go over or what?
Well, so like the upcoming Giants schedule, I think you guys are gonna win a lot more games. Like, I mean, if we're gonna talk about like your record, I think you're gonna beat the Lions, so that'll leave you guys at 8-2. Possibly beat the Cowboys. So that will leave you guys to the Commanders. I think, like, I'm not trying to be cocky here, but I think the Commanders are going to absolutely tank, and then you guys are going to win. Yeah. And then the Eagles, that's going to be a tough one. I think that might. I don't know.
You could say it. It'll probably be an L. You can say it.
I think it might be an L.
Okay. All right. We're gonna lose. We're gonna slip up a few games. It's okay.
It happens though. I think you guys have a chance on beating Minnesota. If you guys beat Minnesota, then. But it's gonna be a tough win. It's gonna be a tough one at Minnesota because isn't it at Minnesota as well?
Yeah, exactly. So if we do somehow win that game, it'll be like either on a last-second field goal or like some scenario like that. But it's gonna be very tough. Very tough.
And the Colts, I mean, the Colts are not good right now. So
yeah, exactly. The Colts and you're playing the Colts at home too. That should be a win. That should be a win. And then the Eagles, like I said, the Eagles have nothing to play for that last game of the year because they'll probably have the division locked up by then. So they can probably win that game. And the Giants are probably going to be like, okay, we want to play for seeding here. So they'll probably go ahead, start all their guys. So, yeah, I definitely think the Giants are probably looking at it, let's say, if you can go – like 11-6, 12-5, like something like that. I can't believe we're saying this about the New York Giants in 2020. The Giants, possibly going 11-6 and 12-5. Who would have thought? Because
I didn't think it. If I'm being very honest with you, I did not think the Giants were going.
I didn't even think anyone was.
As an Eagles fan, I didn't even think we were going to be playing this good either. So like the Eagles would be playing good, like they'd be undefeated right now. But also, I mean, this is not like the time to get into it, but I feel like the Eagles should be playing as an undefeated team, they should be dominating way more. But that's we could talk about that when the Giants play the Eagles.
Yeah, definitely. But you are right, as I think Jalen Hurts just got picked off just now. But anyways, so is there any more topics you would like to go over or what's up?
So Saquon Barkley, let's talk about him, like how he played that. How do you think Saquon played that game?
I think Saquon played really good. Well, do you have any stats on? Oh no, I got it. So he had 35 carries. That's a lot. 152 yards and a touchdown. So I mean, Saquon, he's been good all year. He's been really good.
Saquon off an injury, he's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think the Giants stayed somewhat true to their game plan about like running the ball.
Yeah,
trying to put gain easy yards.
What I would have liked, like I said, there were some instances like in the fourth quarter where I was kind of like, okay, you can't give it to Saquon every down here because it was starting to get kind of ridiculous. And I was like, okay, can they like maybe try to throw the ball here? Like I was just, hoping for a little, like I get it. The Texans run defense is like terrible, but still, like I said in the pregame, you're going to be facing these good teams and you're going to have to throw.
Yeah, because
if you want to try it, so maybe against the Lions, I'm just going to say the same thing. Just try to throw it a little more because also I don't want Saquon to get hurt. 35 carries a game, that's ridiculous. The guy had concerns.
That could be up a running back.
Yeah, exactly. Just give him like a little breather. Just try to throw. I get it. We have no receivers helping us out except Slayton as of late. But still, and this goes into the Giants. Trying to maybe sign Odell, but I'm not sure about that with the cap. But
that would be like some breaking, like very.
Yeah.
That would be like a whole like episode for you guys to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I want to talk about quickly a receiver that got traded, and that's Kadarius Toney, aka Young Joker, the rapper. Yes, I know he had a good game against the Chiefs, and now apparently he's throwing shade, against the Giants. Now, to anyone out there that is defending this guy and saying, "Oh, the Giants were wrong," no, the guy did not want to learn the playbook. He didn't want to learn the playbook. He didn't want to come to OTAs, when you had a new system. So all these people saying, oh, the Giants were wrong, the Giants blah, blah, blah. No, it's not the Giants' fault. I know I may sound like an apologist here, but the guy wasn't cutting it. And he was benched, earlier this year because he did not know the playbook. So this notion of, Kadarius Toney, he's doing good with the Chiefs, and he's over there, saying Patrick Mahomes is a real dime thrower.
Yeah. I mean, I think he didn't give New York a chance. That's what I think. He was very injury prone too. But exactly. now he's here on the Chiefs, he's talking so much about how it was all the Giants' fault. He didn't have as good as a career, things like that. I feel like he could have done the same thing he did on the Chiefs that game with the Giants, if I'm being honest.
Exactly. And the one good game Kadarius Toney had with the Giants, he got ejected against the Cowboys, and that was a year ago. That was the one good game he had. He got ejected. The guy's a head case too at that. So it's just a waste of a pick. Oh well. But like I said, the people saying that it's the Giants' fault, that's just completely unfair. That's unfair. Given the circumstance and how the guy, did not want to learn the playbook. Like you said, he did not give New York a chance at all. All right. Nope. So is there any, more things you would like to talk about, or should we wrap it up?
I mean, from what I know, we can talk about the defense, the Giants' defense.
Okay, yeah. Let's do that. Let's talk about the defense. All right, so
you want to start it off?
No, you can start off. Let's go.
So, like you guys said pregame about how the Giants were going to play, if the Giants stopped the Texans on third down, because the Texans were not a very good third down conversion team, they'd be a successful team. And your prediction was right. They stopped them on third down. The Texans could not manage. The Giants kept getting the ball back. Now, if the Giants had a more going offense and they were scoring more and had I wouldn't say they played bad on offense, but if they were driving the ball more on offense, they probably could have put blown the Texans out.
But like I said, the Giants we don't do that, so it's
you guys don't have a receiver hope, and it's understandable.
Yeah, For sure. The defense played really well. Dexter Lawrence, he had a nice game. He had a sack. Who else had a sack? Jihad Ward, he had a sack. Also, Jason Pinnock. I don't know who that is. But he had 1.5 sacks, so that's good. You like to see that. These guys stepping up with the next man up mentality. You can definitely feel Xavier McKinney's absence in this game, because like on some of those passes being thrown by Mills, I was like, come on, like it was just like kind of getting ridiculous. The Giants also got bailed out. They had a touchdown or whatever, and they didn't call. They pulled it back. So, yeah, the defense definitely stepped up for sure.
Dane Belton also had an interception, which
game.
Yeah, I feel like
stepping up.
I feel like the New York Giants are like starting to I wouldn't say become a threat, but they're starting to become like more of like a respected team, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because before,
no, you go. I'll say that.
So like before, people used to like not think very highly of the Giants. They used to think, oh, we're gonna blow this team out, this, that, about the Giants. But now, like you come play the New York Giants, it's actually a game you have to focus on and like actually respect them, and not like come in thinking you're gonna blow them out.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're not gonna see that now. Like even against good teams. Like I feel like as a Giants fan, years ago, like all these years, since 2016, I always felt like, oh yeah, we're gonna lose this game. Like we face a good team, I'm like, yeah, but now you never know with the Giants. You like they can go ahead, and I feel like they have a chance against any team. They have a good chance against any team. You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Now, like there are some problems. Like they're still in a rebuild though. But the fact that they are 7-2 in a rebuild, that's good. I definitely think Brian Dable should get Coach of the Year. With this roster, this roster, they don't have like a lot of talent on this roster. But the fact they're still 7-2, and beat like some good teams,
I also think like coming into the season when the Giants were like actually winning games and stuff. A lot of people were questioning if Brian Dable was actually like doing it himself, like if he was like contributing to the wins. I feel like Giants fans were doing that. Like I seen like a lot of videos about it, but like I think he's doing his job with the roster he has. Like a lot of like he doesn't have like a lot of strong points in certain areas, like strong like people to play certain positions in certain areas, but they're still like 7-2 right now. That's very good. So I think he's doing his thing as a head coach.
Yeah, definitely. Before we wrap up, just one more thing about Brian Dable. Like I also like the fact that he holds guys accountable. That has been a huge issue for this franchise. Accountability. You got guys, let me tell you, like Joe Judge from last year. Let's talk about him just real quick. You got him saying, oh, blah, blah, blah. I need to look at the tape, blah, 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 making excuses, I liked when Dable went on the first game, got on Daniel Jones. That was good. He needed that because look how he's playing now. And then look at the O-line. How do you feel about accountability before we wrap this thing up?
I feel like as someone who plays football, accountability is like a very important thing because like if you keep making the same mistakes over and over again, it's going to become repetitive. And if they're not corrected, it's going to be a harder issue to fix. And what Brian Dable is doing, like holding guys accountable, benching people when they're not doing their job, I feel like that's like the right like coaching. He has the right coaching mindset because if you're not holding guys accountable, sure they're getting paid like millions of dollars, but at some point they have to be held accountable for what they're doing. So
yeah, definitely.
I think very important.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you everyone for watching this Giants postgame. Daniel, you did a wonderful job on your first video. I would definitely like to have you on again. Thank you everyone. Please like and subscribe to Planet of NY Sports, and we'll see you in the next video.